Right, hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, to Warren's Team Talk. And I'm absolutely delighted and honoured to say that today I've got Gracie-Mae with me, and basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to have a chat about Gracie's life as a football fan and find out all about what happened and everything. So I just want to say a big hello to Gracie and say thanks ever so much, Gracie, for coming on. Do you want to just introduce yourself and talk about your channel and stuff?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, my name's Gracie-Mae, obviously, as you can see. I run a channel, Arsenal channel, and where I talk about everything Arsenal, games, reactions, you bet it's there. You know, I've been an Arsenal fan all my life, and you'll obviously get to know that throughout this, but make sure you go subscribe. We're close to 600 now, which is just insane over the past few months. So yeah, check it out.
Brilliant. Thank you, Gracie. So I'm just going to quickly run through these chats that we got here. And it says, first one's from Del Boy, and he's saying, hit the likes, people. That's very kind of you, Del Boy. Thank you very much. And then Jez is saying hello to Del Boy. And then Jez says, afternoon, Warren and Gracie. Hi, Jez. I hope you're well, mate. Nice to see you. And then Del Boy says, hi, Warren, Gracie, and Jez. So that's nice. Joanne Smith's in the chat. Hi, Joanne. Nice to see you. Thanks very much for coming in. Oh, yeah, yikes. Great. How many has my Monday got? Laugh out loud. I backed Arsenal to beat Norwich Boxing Day. I won, but couldn't withdraw my winnings. So left it there. Thought I'd try and withdraw it today. £200. Congratulations,
Brilliant.
Joe. Yeah, exactly. And hello, Warren, my lovelies. Hello, Joanne. Nice to see you. She says hello, Gracie. And then like and shared. Thank you. Thanks very much, Joanne. And then hello again, Del Boy, she says. And then the Macrionical says, Warren, Gracie, good afternoon to both of you. Good afternoon to you as well, mate. Nice to see you. And yeah, please, everyone, don't forget to subscribe to Gracie as well. Let me just put the banner on. That's it. There is a link to her channel in the description for this video. And there was one in here with her link to her channel as well.
It's still there.
Is it?
Yeah, it's at the top.
Is it right at the top?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. So, yeah, there's a link. I don't know if you can see that. Can you?
Yeah, you should be able to. I can see it.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, there's a comment in the chat from me with the description for her channel as well. So please make sure you go and check that out. It's a great channel. So, yeah, that'd be fantastic. Anyway, so I'm going to ask Gracie a load of questions about her life as a football fan. And so, Gracie, I was just wondering, first of all, if you could just give us a little bit about where you were born and where you grew up, if that's...
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not expecting you to tell us where you live now, but just just about where you were born and grew up, really.
Yeah, so I've been I live in Kent. I was born in Kent in Margate, and that's where I've lived pretty much most of my life. But my family are all from North London, and Kentish Town predominantly, and that's how we're all Arsenal fans. And it's generationally we're talking again. We'll probably get into that shortly. Yeah, so it's where I've grown up in Kent. Born in Margate. It was nearly 17. Birthday's on 21st of June 2005. That's where it all began.
Bless you. Oh, that's great. So, having lived in Kent most of my life, I know that there's quite a lot of different supporters dotting about the place. But when you said you grew up in Kent and whatever, so how did you find it growing up supporting Arsenal in that area?
Well, it's kind of been just normal my whole life, really. When you have a family like I do, where literally everyone supports Arsenal, and I do have quite a big family. When everyone supports Arsenal, it's like you're so passionate about it. Like from day one, like as soon as you could talk, you're talking about it, or as soon as you're born, like that is it. That is just normal. It's what you're used to, and then you start going to games and everything. And, obviously people can see I'm a passionate fan. When it comes to it, so being surrounded by that my whole life, like nothing's ever felt different. If anything, it's made it a bit better because you're not just a normal like fan that just goes, oh, I want to support this team. Like it's very much this is how it is, and you love it. It's like part of your family. Like it really is part of like everything your family's kind of based around. It's the first thing you tell people. Oh, I'm an Arsenal fan. Like what team do you support? Like that's just how it's always been.
So sounds like it was quite generational then. It's been going on for
Years.
generations. Does that be right?
Yep, literally. I kid you not. Everyone in my family is an Arsenal fan, and I have a big family. So, I mean, I got family in Australia, Arsenal fan. Everywhere, literally everywhere, and it goes back years as well.
So really, Gracie, to me, it sounds like you didn't have much choice in it.
No, nobody has a choice in this family. Like, so when you're in the hospital, you're born, and then you get literally hours later, you'll get an Arsenal scarf wrapped around the hospital crib. You're still in the hospital at this point. Arsenal scarf around the crib, and an Arsenal teddy is put in. So that is it. That you're Arsenal christened in that, and then that's how it is for the rest of your life and onwards.
So, I mean, because the next question I was going to ask you is about how your interest in football started, but it sounds like it sort of started almost from the moment
Straight
you were
away.
born.
Yeah, literally straight away. That's how the journey began, and seen some great times and seen some very bad ones. So it's a shame.
Did you ever sort of rebel against it though? Say, look, I'm really not interested in this. I want to like look at, I don't know, sort of tennis or something else, or do something different.
No, I wouldn't dare. I mean, I'm a quite a tomboy. I'm not like the most girly girl. So growing up with that, I'm like football. I used to play football. I love playing football, and it's kind of just been. I like other sports, but I've only ever watched football because obviously that's what I've grown up around as well. So I like to watch. I watch the tennis. I watch cricket, but my focus is literally football. Like I go to sleep thinking about football. I wake up and it's like what I do. I mean, I'm surrounded by stuff to remind me like constantly. But it's never crossed my mind as thinking I've never not watched an Arsenal game. I've never not watched a match. So it's like that's just how it is. Like I never miss one. Never.
So how old do you think you were when if you can remember the first time that you watched a game of football and you were aware of what was going on, would you say?
I mean, I got my Arsenal shirt, like my first proper one when I was about 3, maybe, and I've been watching it since. So put that into what we're saying, nearly 14 years of worth of watching football.
Wow.
Yeah, I was quite aware of like what I was watching,
Yeah.
because I would sit with my family and watch it. So yeah, probably around that age. I mean, I have lots of pictures to prove it, but I think it probably from the age of 3. I'm sure if my mum's watching, she will tell me. But yeah, it's probably 14 years. I've probably been watching it properly.
That's impressive because
Yeah.
like my dad was mad football fan, right? And he was born and brought up in Scotland, and living in Scotland, he wasn't an Arsenal fan. He didn't really have that much interest in it. But when he moved to England, and as we were talking backstage, he was in the RAF, and when he moved to England, he was stationed in High Wycombe and played for Wycombe Wanderers, and he used to go and watch Arsenal games with some of his colleagues now and again. And when they had me, they first of all started off in Plymouth, and then they ended up moving to Kent. And when I was really young, I didn't really show that much interest in it. But then as I got older, I started to get into it. And I remember him saying to me, "Oh, if you want to go and watch a team, if you want to go and watch a football team, choose one, and we'll make sure we can go." He said, "But make sure it's the London side." So I just said, "Okay, I want to go and watch Arsenal then." And that was it for me. And then because I chose that, he sort of got into it as well. And, so mine wasn't a really generational thing. It was just how he decided that he wanted me to have the same love for football as what he did. So it was quite interesting in that way. So can you remember what your first game was, Gracie,
that I went to?
Yeah.
It was an Emirates FA Cup game, and it was against RB Leipzig.
Wow.
And it was a very long time ago, so I can't really remember. Sat in the North Bank. I've only ever sat in the North Bank apart from one occasion. And that was it. And I think we did win. I believe we won. I've only, touch wood, I've only ever won at going to the stadium. So every time I'm there, we've won. So it won in quite fashionable style as well. Won by quite a few goals.
Excellent.
So it probably all started in Emirates Cups. We always went to Emirates Cups first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it
was an Emirates Cup game, and it was at the Emirates, and they thumped RB Leipzig.
I think so. I think that's how it happened. It was quite a long time ago. It was when we had it was like the centenary shirt, where it was the white badge with the like hollow sort of thing, and it had the leaves coming up and everything. It was that year. And that's all I can really remember. It was a great day.
Wow. Well, I mean, that Emirates Cup thing, it is really good thing. It's a good way to introduce kids to football, I think.
Yeah. And then before that, I mean, when I was 2 weeks old, touched the walls of Highbury. That was like the first like sort of thing in London. And then a couple of months, my granddad snuck me into the North Bank and for a game. So in Highbury, so that's the only other time I could say I was in Highbury. It's not like I remember it, but
yeah,
there we go.
And you went in. You got taken into the North Bank. Is that right?
Yeah, I got snuck in apparently. Those are the stories. Those are the stories that have been around.
Bless you. So, when you started like watching it on a regular basis, how would you go about watching it? I mean, or listening to it? Because when I was young, there weren't a lot of games that were live. You had to listen to it on the radio. And even then, it wasn't necessarily going to be on. So you'd be sitting there, like trying to figure out what's going on, picking up reports off the radio. Oh, this team scored, that team scored, things like that. But how was it for you? How would you follow what was going on?
I would. So when the game was on, obviously I'd just watch it on the TV with family. My granddad would go around there. If it's a big game, we would go around to his house and we used to all watch it together. I say watched. Most of the time we were just up and down, like too worried, just pacing up and down. But when it's like the Sky Sports Centre sort of thing, and the commentators are on there, that was kind of the main thing I watch. Like if it wasn't on, that was what you would watch. and listen out for, and you would like, as soon as they scored, you're just sitting there tensely just watching this for like 2 hours waiting for the game to finish, and you celebrate if there's a goal or whatever. But then as I got older, obviously I've my own phone, I'd follow that apps like on everything, and listen to the commentary on that Arsenal app or whatever, and and if that wasn't the case, then I'd be always watching the game. So that's mainly that one.
Cool. Excellent. So it sounds like you've been a really avid supporter from like the get-go, Gracie.
Yeah. No, always a football fanatic. I'm obsessed. Like any conversation that I have with someone's always about football and what like team they support. I mean, if they support the same team, I always talk about it. I still do it now. Yeah, so it's massively important in my family and my life.
Exactly. So did you ever like sort of go to the Emirates on a regular basis then? Like you have a season ticket or anything like that?
No, I wouldn't have a season ticket. I mean, this season I'm quite fortunate. My cousin has a season ticket, so I've been trying to like hop on up with him, and he's got a lovely seat as well in the North Bank. It's very nice.
Cool.
And so that was it. But my granddad would get us tickets to a game or whatever, and we would go. He was like a platinum member, and he had so he had, or a silver member, I think, and he was just about to like get to the next level, and so we would do it through that, or but this season I've been to whatever and season ticket here, but season tickets are so hard to get. Like there's a massive waiting list, like, and when you get one it's like you're cheering really. But yeah, when you're like, oh no, I've got to go watch him every game, like, but no, I wouldn't say like regularly, regular but not regularly, if that makes sense. Like, I would go to games still, but not like every single game. I wouldn't be traveling like up to the Emirates, because it's still like an hour and 20 minutes, 2 hours car drive from
that's
where I
true.
am.
Yeah, it is. It's not easy sometimes getting to the games from Kent. I can vouch for that. But like living in Kent, did you ever go and watch, say, for example, Gillingham, like, or like a local, like Ramsgate playing non-league football
never.
or anything like that?
I can't watch other teams. Like, I can't do it to myself. Like, I've literally only ever watched Arsenal. That is it. Like, I don't. If I'm really bored, I'll venture out and just watch a random game that's on, but it's very rare that I'll do that. I'm not even a massive fan of international football. So it's literally been just Arsenal. That's it. I refuse to watch any other team. Refuse. It's bad luck.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Okay, I'm just going to quickly go through some of these chats, Gracie, because I think there's quite a few.
Go for it.
So Joanne wants to know what we think the score is going to be for the Chelsea game on Wednesday. So what do you think about that, Gracie?
Who's it against? See, this is how much I know about other teams. Like,
No, Arsenal against Chelsea on
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Arsenal, Chelsea. Oh gosh.
Yeah,
I never predict a loss, and it's getting very difficult not to predict a loss at this point. I don't think we'll win. We're in very much deep in the mud at the moment. I think we will lose. To be fair, it'll be very short if we manage to get a draw, or even a 1-0 win.
Exactly, that's what I think. I think personally, I think the best we can hope for is a 0-0 draw. I don't think we're going to win, and I just noticed recently we've had a lot of trouble breaking these teams down. And I think that Chelsea are going to win like 2 or 3-0, unfortunately.
Yeah. But
he says, "Hi Joe, hope all is good on your winnings." And then my Chronicle, afternoon, Joanne. And good afternoon, Mr. Jace Collins, says my Chronicle. People having a nice chat, so that's good. Craig Malloy, big up Warren Gracie and the chat. Thanks a lot, Craig. Diego C. Palace. Afternoon, Diego. I hope you're well, mate. Afternoon, all. And the McManus Sense. Afternoon, peeps. The McChronicle says, my first game watching was Anfield 89 with my dad. I wasn't even 4 years old. Were the only Arsenal fans in a family that's pretty much Chelsea and Spurs in Toronto. Laugh out loud. Well, fair play to you, mate. Yeah, Anfield 89, that was amazing. I don't think I stopped celebrating for about 3 hours after that game. It was mad. Sarah Wingrove.
That's my mum, by the way.
Your mum?
That is.
Oh, bless her. She's been putting comments in some of my videos.
Yeah.
Granddad always worried about taking you to league games when you were small. So he would take you to the Emirates Cup games as it's a bit more family friendly. That's true. That is very true.
Yep.
My first game was when I was 5 years old, and I was in the clock end at Highbury, and it was against Liverpool, and there was no real segregation, right? And it was really friendly, actually. The fans, there was no trouble or anything like that. But I was like really small, obviously, and it was difficult to see what was going on. I mean, I can't hardly remember even the game. All I remember is like the linesman getting injured, and a guy who used to be on the BBC, a guy called Jimmy Hill. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's like a professional referee as well. Well, a trained referee, because they weren't professional then. And he had to come and run the line, otherwise the game would have had to have been abandoned. Don't go to your first game and it's abandoned.
That would have been some bad luck.
Yeah, exactly. So, and Jez says 2017, Arsenal beat RB Leipzig 3-1. There you go. See, I knew
that could be the game, 2017.
Yeah.
That's probably about right. That's in regards to the Chelsea game, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I think as well.
Yeah.
So Joanne, you think it's going to be a 0-0 draw? Or no, she doesn't think it's not going to be a 0-0 draw. Oh God, Joanne's saying 6-0. God, Joanne, I hope not.
Better not be.
I remember my daughter. She's now 13. The day that we lost 6-0 to them, she come up to me and asked me what the score was. So I told her, and she stormed upstairs and slammed her bedroom door and wouldn't come out. Bless her. And good old Jimmy Hill, says Joanne. Right, okay, so let's get back on with this. So let's see, where was I? So we get for going to matches and stuff, Gracie. Is it quite tricky for you to get hold of them? Because I know, like, it is hard to get tickets for matches. It's not easy, is it? No. I mean, back in the day when I was going with my dad in the mid to late 70s, you'd just be able to rock up and pay on the gate and go in. It wasn't a problem. But nowadays, it seems a lot harder. So how's that experience for you, getting tickets?
I mean, my granddad used to always be the one. We always used to go together. So he had like a high up membership. So he would get like allocated like a certain amount of tickets a year or to games or whatever. So that's the way we would usually do it. I don't really know the ins and outs because I've never done it. I had to do it by myself yet because I've always been quite young going. So yeah, I've never had a problem with it personally. I know it is difficult. But quite fortunate of being like members and stuff. You get obviously the perks, and then the season ticket from my cousin this season. He's gone to a lot of games, and when there's seats available nearby, I'll go as well.
Yeah, I mean, you did mention that earlier that your cousin's got a season ticket, so that's quite handy, I guess. But yeah, it's not easy because there's such a demand for tickets and stuff, and
Yeah,
it's hard.
pretty much like if you want to get tickets, you have to be a member
Yeah.
because there's no other way.
Mm.
No other way because it's all done through your membership on your phone, your card. You just scan it now when you go in. You don't even have a physical ticket anymore.
So, even if you are a member, if you're a red member, you'd have to be pretty lucky to get tickets. Isn't that right?
Yeah, you have to be quite like I would say silver is where like you probably got the best chance.
I have to admit something, Gracie. I got offered a gold membership like back
Wow.
in the beginning of last summer, the summer just gone, and I just ignored the email because I was so pissed off with the club.
Oh no.
Yeah,
You don't know what you're missing out on there, but I see why. I see why.
yeah. No, I just don't want to give them any money. I don't.
No.
I just like, but that's me. So, but so when you've spoken a bit about going to like the Emirates Cup and going to matches with your granddad. So can you tell us a little bit about what your early match day experience is like?
Yeah, there's quite a regimented routine, I think, really. So we always like night before you always get your shirts out ready, you pick what you're gonna have, sort of thing. And then we get up there, drive up. It's probably like an hour and 20 minutes usually, and then you get to the game, get to the ground. We'll eat food. Um, there's two places really that we go to eat food. It's either the cafe outside the armory, obviously the famous one on the corner, or it's the where the big Arsenal letters are. There's a van, like a burger and hot dog van. That's the place to go, people. That's probably the best one to eat. And then yeah, we'll eat some food, and then always look around in the armory. My granddad always used to be like, "I'm not gonna get anything this time I'm there," and he always ended up buying something. Always used to come back with something. I'll tell you that. And yeah, then we'd watch the game and then drive back home. So it's not very. It's our little. It's the little tradition that counts.
Yeah, exactly. And there's those little things that just sort of add to the experience, isn't it?
Yeah, big time.
Excellent. Thank you. Um, so, looking at modern day football, Gracie, I'm just wondering what you think can be done to improve modern football.
Oh, plenty could be done. I last year I studied a diploma in sport, and that's mainly media based. And I think looking through that, media is the massive problem, and it does dictate a lot of the game when games can be played. Um, even simple things like VAR, it's a massive change, and it's things like that. It's the small things in modern football that will change it, and it'll change it for the better. Um, with all the money and everything that's in football, that's never going to change now, and that's something people have got to accept. And we have to learn to adapt it. But making the game better, you need to. It's just massively media influenced and in PR. You look at Arsenal this season. We've dropped about 20 kits, and it's ridiculous. Every time we lose, Ian Wright comes out with the wheel of merchandise saying, "Oh, we'll release that one to make the fans feel better." It's things like that, and clubs are moving quickly now. Clubs that have got big money, they're winning things, and that's what it's got to be, unfortunately. And it's going to take the fans to claim back football, and I think that's definitely a thing that could be done in a modern world. Is the fans need to assert this is it, like this is our club, and definitely on the topic of Arsenal, that's what needs to be done, and the fans will have to force people out because at the end of the day, a club isn't a club without the fans because it wouldn't be able to run.
Exactly, 100%. What about the actual, like the running, and not necessarily running? Sorry, I mean the officiating of the game, or the laws, or You touched briefly on VAR and stuff like that, but things like that, that's another area I'm sort of interested in, about the actual playing side of the game. And like, like, for example, when the World Cup went to America back in the day, I can't remember when it was played in America, but it went to America and England didn't qualify for it. But the Americans were pushing quite hard for the game to have 4 quarters rather than of 25 minutes, rather than like 2 halves of 45 minutes. I mean, just little things like that. Have you had any thoughts about that, Gracie?
You always do. I think you've got to stick to traditional English football at the end of the day. It's where it all stemmed from. And you can't be changing things, because that's what makes the game unique and exciting, is it's got these little bits. But with more technology that's coming in, definitely rules need to be looked into on the officiating side of it, because some are very stupid. VAR's had a lot of good decisions, and it's had, the good outweighs the bad. The bad outweighs the good in this situation with VAR. I don't like it. Because I think it does take the excitement out of it. Because even though I don't like it, I find myself in a game, I'll be like, VAR, VAR. Like, you lean on it so much. And, a player could literally, like, poke someone and VAR will be like, no. Or there'll be a clear and obvious handball and it doesn't go in your favour. So the game has to, in the officiating side, it has to become more consistent. And these are the rules, so you follow that, like it's set out clearly, so everyone knows whether, okay, yeah, that was the right decision, or no, that was the wrong decision, so how do we fix it? There's no no one looks into, after the game they look into their teams, but then they won't look into like, oh, this referee did this wrong, and nothing gets done about it, because these decisions impact the game so much. It could be the difference between you winning a trophy, or just winning the game and losing.
No, 100%, 100%. And you're right. The integrity of the game has to be paramount, and
Yeah.
you have to respect its traditions and things. That's why I was so happy that when there was all this talk about 4 quarters when the World Cup went to America, that it never happened, because I was thinking, right, well, that's a slippery slope. As soon as that goes, then you're like, that could kill the game off completely. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, personally, I like the idea of the way it's used is appalling. It really is, and it does slow the game down. Like, the goal goes in, you're not sure if you can celebrate it or not. And there are some leagues in the world that don't use it. Like, for example, I know the family that I've got left in Scotland, it's not there, and they don't want it because they've seen about how badly it's used here, and they said, no, we don't want that, thank you. Do you know what I mean? So it is quite crazy. It really is. But you're right. Everything you said, Gracie, was 100% spot on. So hold on a sec. So when obviously you're still very young and stuff, but growing up, is there any particular football games like that you like to play? I mean, you're very much in the IT age, but when I was a kid, there was a couple of board games that were based around football and dice games and stuff like that. But I'm aware nowadays that we've got Football Manager and FIFA and stuff like that. Does that sort of stuff appeal to you?
Oh yes. I mean, you can see around me, you probably can tell that I play games. FIFA. I've tried Football Manager. I'm not a fan. It's too slow paced. I did recreate the Arsenal team that's currently out and see if I can figure out what Arteta does wrong so badly, and I couldn't, because it's so strange how he does it. And I wasn't a fan of Football Manager. I always play FIFA. I love FIFA. and I only ever really play the career stuff. I love to replicate current teams, change it, get players in that I think even now, like I'll predict my starting 11 that I predict. I'll play it on FIFA and see if it works, or I'll get a player that I think might suit an Arsenal, play it on FIFA, and and see what it's like. So I do like to do that sort of stuff in terms of games. I don't, and then just watching. I watch all sorts of things about Arsenal, and so that's pretty much it. FIFA's really the only football game out there that you can actually play.
Yeah, because like for me growing up, there was all sorts of different things, and obviously not much IT wise. It was like I said, board games, dice games, pen and paper, stuff like it was crazy, But yeah, that's really interesting. And the thing is with Football Manager, it used to be really good, but it's come so. There's so much. They've tried so hard to make it so ultra realistic.
Yeah.
That it's become too much. There's just too much statistics in it, and you can't. It just takes too long to play the game.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because you have to sit there for like 30 minutes. You have to sit there for like 30 minutes just like talking in the changing room, but there's no actual dialogue. If anyone's playing, there's no dialogue. It's literally just you reading the whole time. And I installed it. I played about 10 minutes of it and I was like, no, I'm deleting this. This was awful.
Exactly. So here we go. So when you mentioned earlier at the beginning, Gracie, you were talking about playing football, like at school. I don't know, but you were talking about actually playing the game. So do you play football at school, or how does that work? Is it in like structured football matches, or do you just play with a group of friends up the park, or what happens?
So more so when I was younger, I would play football. I mean, girls' football in schools, you wouldn't believe it. It's quite like a new thing. When I joined in year 7, there wasn't much of it, and we would only ever play like cup games here and there. But I would play. I used to love like being the one scoring the goals, etc. But I'm actually a goalkeeper because I'm very tall. And I love diving all over the place, etc. So I would play goalkeeper, and I've played quite a few games, and then I've begun like helping the younger teams now and like training that side of it. But I used to play with my friends in the park. And always played football. Just love it. Like literally, I would love it. I'll go play by myself. Like I'll be happy playing by myself. Just trying to do some new tricks or whatever. And my parents would buy me football boots for Christmas, and it's things like that.
Excellent. That sounds really cool. And is there like a girls' team at your school, or?
There is now. There is a girls' team now. That play at my school. I mean, I'm in sixth form, so I don't really see the younger years as much. I try to get involved. But I'm very busy, so I don't unfortunately I don't really see it much. Our boys team are quite successful. My cousin actually plays for Margate FC, and he's very good. He's
really
younger than me. He's very good. He's played at Stamford Bridge, and obviously an Arsenal fan as well. Go to games with him, and he's very talented. So you never know. He could be the next little Arsenal player in about probably 7 years' time. So you never know.
Wow. Yeah, because I know that Arsenal, well, I don't know if they're still doing it, but years ago they used to go around schools in certainly in Kent doing coaching and stuff like that. I don't know whether they're still doing that.
There's a few teams, but you've mainly got like the dominant teams, and you don't really hear about the younger ones. But girls' football is like around here is like on a rise. There's a lot more girls' teams, like fully girls' teams, and hopefully there'll be more in the future. But if I'm being honest, I don't really have time to play football anymore, which is really sad. I mainly just have to watch it and then do YouTube and then everything else that I have to be doing all the time. But always like I have a little brother who's 6, so I'm starting to get him into football slowly, and we've started playing. So hopefully that'll be my next thing, playing football.
Sounds great, Gracie. I mean, getting the kids into it, I think it's really important. Getting kids playing sport, it really is. But so let's move on. Right now. I was going to ask you. I have questions on here about football at work, but you haven't started working yet, I presume.
I don't work. Right? No, I don't work. I don't have a job. I'm too busy to have a job, which is really, people find that really odd. But I literally don't have any time. Like this is it.
Really young. That's the thing. You've got all your schoolwork to do. You need to focus on that.
Yeah. Plenty of to do. I've had jobs, but just don't work out.
No. Okay. So have you got any funny stories of things that happened from young when you were younger, about what happened when you went to a football match or anything like that?
Funny stories. Probably it was we won the FA Cup against Aston Villa in 2015, and I was at my granddad's house. We were all there, the whole family, gathering to watch it. And I remember, it was the last few minutes, and we literally, Arteta made a run and crossed it or something, and it was beautiful goal, and then that won us the FA Cup. And because obviously we didn't win it for quite a while at that point. And oh my goodness, did we literally scream. And all I remember, my granddad was on the phone to my uncle, I think it's his cousin, call him my uncle, on the phone literally, because he's a Man United fan, and he was literally screaming down the phone, we've won the FA Cup and all of this, all of that. But the funny thing is, my granddad barely sat down and watched it, because he was just pacing up and down, oh no, we're gonna win, oh. And that was probably the most funniest in my eyes, because we were literally screaming and jumping for an hour. And my little cousins, they were young, they had not a clue what was going on. And yeah, we just literally all stood in the living room, jumping up and bouncing up and down, and people were crying, and I was like, this is just insane. And it's it's the best feeling. But literally there's some people in my family that will cry after we've won something, literally cry. So that's how much it means in our family, to even win something like the FA Cup.
Well, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's winning. It's not coming second or third or fourth or whatever.
None of that.
Your poor neighbours. Did the neighbours say anything to you afterwards about all the noise?
Probably. I have no idea, but they probably did. I mean, we had Arsenal flags hanging out the window, music playing, it was brilliant. That's it. My mum's just said there, we used to run out the door at the front and screaming. And when we were in lockdown and we won the FA Cup against Chelsea, I literally was running up and down the street screaming and shouting, because there was a Chelsea fan a couple of doors down. So I was screaming and singing. So those are probably the most funny ones when you look back at them.
It is really funny. I mean, and I'm sure that you'll have plenty more in years to come as well, Gracie. But the neighbours, oh my goodness,
probably hate me. They probably literally hate me. But it's all part of the fun at the end of the day.
Yeah, it is, and it's people who don't really understand football or like football don't get it. They don't.
No.
And, I remember once I was jumping around screaming about a football match, and one of the neighbours sort of bumped into my mum a few days later and said to him, is Warren okay? We heard him screaming. Is everything all right with him? Then we were worried.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Sutherland.
So that was quite funny. But okay, so let's move on. So when you growing up, Gracie, who were your favourite players? Would you say?
It's been quite a few. I have no idea why, but I idolise Robin van Persie. I have no clue why. Robin van Persie was it for me when I was younger. He was definitely up there. Chesney, the goalkeeper. Santi Cazorla, and then for some reason as well, when we had Podolski, I liked him, and it was mainly them. But then there was one more. There was one more player who I literally had it in my head and I've forgotten the name of. But those were probably the ones. And Van Persie was like up there for me, like big time. I have no idea why, but I loved Robin Van Persie. I think I even had like a poster of him on my wall. But then he left, so then I hated him.
How did you feel about that when he left?
I was fuming. I was so sad. I can't really remember it much, but I know I was horrified, especially when he went to Man United as well. It was horrible. I mean, I even loved Alexis Sanchez. It's players like that, just proper players that just score goals non-stop for fun. Definitely up there for me, all of them.
I mean, for me, Alexis was probably, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a big debate to be had about this, but I think for me, he was probably the best player in the Emirates era.
Yeah.
Like, talent-wise.
And we let him go.
Yeah, and it was ridiculous. I mean, and I think the reason he left was he thought the club didn't have any ambition. And this is a theme that keeps recurring, like players wanting to leave because they think the club's got no ambition.
Yeah.
And I agree with them. I do. I just think the hierarchy of the club don't have any ambition. You know,
no, I agree.
It would be challenging. You know, it's crazy. But yeah, those players that you mentioned, Gracie, are absolutely superb players. Van Persie and Cazorla, Chesney. I mean, look what Chesney has done since he left the club. He went on to be Juventus' number one.
It's his birthday today, by the way. It's Chesney's birthday today. So happy birthday to Chesney, because it is his birthday today.
Happy birthday to Chesney. And Podolski as well. I absolutely loved him. And what really sealed it for me was two things. When he first joined the club, he made the effort to go around and check out London, and then he went and made the effort to find out about the club and educate himself on the history of the club. He probably knows more about the history of the club than some of our supporters do.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that he jumped in the crowd at White Hart Lane when we beat Tottenham that year, and was celebrating with the Arsenal fans in there. I was standing in the stand. I just thought it was superb. I absolutely loved that.
Definitely.
So when you've been to games, how was it for you when you were seeing, like, for example, Robin van Persie play? I mean, how did you cope with that?
I mean, I don't think I actually ever got to see him play. But I mean, going to games, I was very lucky to go be a VIP match, a Europa League match a couple of years ago, and I was walking around the pitch while the players were warming up for the game, and obviously I got to meet Aubameyang, Lacazette. I think Liechtensteiner was literally like a centimetre in front of me playing. Petr, players like that. It was very, you got taken back a bit, and I was literally like, I couldn't talk about it after. I haven't been able to talk about it for years because I generally it was just too amazing that you can't even describe it. Like standing in front of literally people that you watch 24/7 and that you love, and they do well for the club. And there's no better feeling than a match day. Like, obviously I've grown up in the Emirates, but even now, like every time you walk up those steps, like you literally get goosebumps, and you look out on the pitch with the players, and then as soon as the chants start going, like, sad that we don't do it now, but I remember when we were doing the Mexican wave, like around the Emirates, like things like that. And it draws it all in together. It literally, you want to cry. You get goosebumps when you look out. Maybe it's just me, but you get goosebumps when you look out
No.
on everyone. It's amazing.
It is awe-inspiring, especially when you come up and then you go up, you're walking up towards the entrance of the stand, and then you walk in and you see the pitch before you and stuff. It's amazing. It really is. And the smell of all the smells that they're around, and like the people, and
and you grab random people. Like, you start celebrating with these like random people that you've never met in your life, and you're all together like one big family. And it's incredible. Like, even like literally every time I've been multiple occasions I've been, and I still get the same feeling.
Every time. It's amazing. And hold on, what we got here. So if you had to say if I asked you to name our greatest ever player, who would you say it'd be? Because there's always a bit of a debate about this in the fan base about who our greatest ever player was. But who would yours be, Gracie?
Bergkamp.
Yeah.
100%. But there's too many good ones. Like, you would say like the top three are really Omri, Bergkamp, and Patrick Vieira. Like, they're like literally up there. But then there's so many good ones. There's too many. But for me personally, like, watching it all, definitely Bergkamp all the way.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you. But of the players that you've heard about or read about or seen footage of, like from the past, which players would you really like to have seen playing from Arsenal's past that you either too young to see or you weren't able to see for any one reason or another?
Definitely 100% Omri. Like, I watch his goals and I'm just thinking, how does this guy do it? Like, he just pings them in. Like, there's just nothing, like the ball's a feather. It just flies in. Ian Wright, I would have loved to see Ian Wright play. And you got Sol Campbell, definitely Patrick Vieira. Mainly, like, everyone from that era is kind of the ones for me. There's never been an occasion where I'm like, oh yeah, I would have loved to see, I don't know, Podolski play. Or, like, that's not really, it's the ones that stand out the most, like Overmars, Adams. I would have liked to see probably Charlie George as well. See, there's so many good ones. There's too many good ones.
Yeah, there is. It's very difficult to pick them. It really is, and and it changes from one time to another. 1 week you might say this one or that one, and then another time you get asked the question and it might completely change. So, yeah, no, I get that. So, thinking about different teams that we've had since you've been watching Arsenal, which of the teams that we've had would you say has been our greatest team, do you think?
What, in my age or just in general?
In general to start with, but then what ones that you've seen, while you've been around?
In general, I would probably the 89 season team or the Invincibles. Two just incredible teams. Like, you could that was fighting for the badge. Like, that is what you want out of a team. Every single player wanted it. It's not just becoming invincible. It's like, it's the fight that it took. You have to love your club to put yourself through that. Like, it's not easy. And then in my life, probably, see, that's hard because we haven't really got a lot of standout teams. Memorable to me, maybe the 2015 when we won the FA Cup, that team. But then, oh no, that's really difficult. I generally have no clue. Like, none really stand out to me. Probably the season where we had the purple and black kit. Remember remember that because I turned 9 that season. And when we had that one, yeah, I like that team. But like players like Theo Walcott as well. Like any team that he was in, loved it. Ramsey, you know, players like that. Just it's a shame. It's a shame to see what we have now, really.
Yeah, it is actually. And then that purple and black kit, and I heard you talking the other day about that and about how much you loved that kit.
Yeah, I love it. It stands out. I think I was in Greece for my birthday that year, and I got that shirt for my birthday in Greece, and I was absolutely buzzing about it. And since then, I think that was a good season. I don't remember, but I think that was a good season. And yeah, I love that kit. There's something about it. It's just different.
Yeah, it was amazing, and I think that was the kit that we were playing in when we beat Bayern Munich 2-0 on their own turf, and we nearly beat them. We nearly knocked them out because I can't remember who it was. I can see him in my face, but I just can't remember his name, and he missed a really easy chance to make it 3-0, and we would have knocked them out of the Champions League if we'd scored that one, which would have been crazy because they went on to win it that year. And
yeah, that's probably why it stands out the most, because we had Podolski, like Chesney.
Yeah.
That was probably the season for me that I remember. Remember decently. That I loved it a lot.
Because I was running around telling people we were the European champions.
I wish.
We were the only team that had beaten them that season or something crazy like that. And they would just look at me like I was mad, you know? So, yeah, that kit was special. Hold on a sec. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so when you were growing up, Gracie, which players? I mean, we've spoken about Robin van Persie and Chesney and Cazorla, the players that you really liked. Was there any players that you really disliked? That you really either from Arsenal or from other teams as well?
Oh, I have loads from other teams, I can tell you that. There's this one Tottenham player. Every time I see him, I literally want to punch him in the face. His name's like Højbjerg or something. Højbjerg.
Yeah.
Every time he plays against Arsenal, he's the dirtiest player I've literally ever witnessed. And I literally I go red in the face when his thing comes on his face comes on the camera. I cannot deal with it. Every time there's a derby, he plays, and I literally get so angry at it. Very angry at it. Hate him. Like he done so. He's always every time he's like chopping our players out and he gets away with it. Hate him. And then from Sergio Aguero, hated him as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, because he scored so many goals against us.
Yeah, that would have been it. And then from Arsenal, players that I've really hated, there's not been like many that I'm like, oh, here he is again, sort of thing. Apart from this season, like when you got Tavares, and I'm like, oh no, it's not going to end well. Xhaka is another one. Hate him. Really hate him. I think he's awful. I think he's actually dreadful.
He is. He's shocking, isn't he?
He's really bad. And then there's not really any of that I'm like, oh, get him out of our club. You know, towards the end, I disliked Mesut Ozil, but I would never say that I really hated him to the point where I was getting angry over him. But mainly from other teams that I've hated the most. I grew to hate Sanchez when he moved to United, but luckily he did nothing special there. So I didn't hate him as much afterwards. But yeah, I'd probably say that the one from Tottenham's like my number one most hated player I've ever seen. And I'm sure you'll see on the next North London derby, I'll be very, very angry if he's even on the starting 11.
Exactly. But so clearly, I mean, you're obviously a massive Arsenal fan, and which means that, well, actually, it's not clear. So which team do you dislike more than any other, would you say?
Tottenham. All the
Really?
way, Tottenham, always. I kid you not, ever since I was younger, even I couldn't say the word without getting angry. Or if I see a Spurs fan, like I'm angry already, like automatically, I can feel it in my chest. I'm like, I hate this guy. Like, I was born to hate you. You're Tottenham. I don't like you. Like the kit annoys me, the ground annoys me, Harry Kane annoys me. It's probably why I don't watch like English football. Like when we're playing like England as a team, can't stand it. Yeah, it's Tottenham all the way. The word boils like, oh, I can't even say it. Like it's not it. I hate them. I really, really do hate them. And I think that's just like a natural thing from my family's history with Arsenal. I've just grown to hate them, and I will continue to hate them
No,
always.
no, I do get it. I had a lot of experiences of watching Tottenham when I've been, to see them play with Arsenal and whatnot. So yeah, I do get it because I just I just can't bear them. I can't. But they're not. They're not my. I wouldn't say. I think I'd hate United more, but that's
Yeah,
got something to do with my age and the things that I've seen go on between Arsenal and United. You
yeah.
know.
Battle. That is a
Um,
real battle, and
yeah.
it's more. It's probably I'm more traditionally. I'm like Tottenham. Like I hate them. And then if we're talking like competitively, it would be United because obviously Tottenham don't compete very well, so for trophies.
Exactly.
They actually have a trophy cabinet in their stadium. It's like just this one little pod with one singular like trophy, and but competitively, it'd definitely be United because it was literally back and forth, as I've seen, and yeah, it's just that it's probably between them two. If you're an Arsenal fan, it's got to be between them two, really.
So okay, so talking about Tottenham, right? What is your most favourite memory of matches against Tottenham? Would you
Oh,
say?
there was one where it was the one where we won 4-2 in recent times, a couple of years ago, maybe now. And it was where like Lucas Torreira scored in the last few, and we were banging the goals like 4-2. Absolutely brilliant. Or even like in recent, when it's not expected, is the best ones. When you're not expected to win a North London derby and you go into it, you're like, oh, it's Tottenham. When you batter them in the first half, there is literally no better feeling in the world. And those were probably the fondest ones of where the 4-2 win, like that was brilliant for me. But every time we'd go to my granny's house, we'd watch the North London derby. Like that is the occasion of the season. We'd go to all the family together. We're watching the derby. We're not sitting still. I've been ones where I've literally been on the floor. Like if there's a penalty, which there usually is, I'm on the floor like praying. I can't look like, and I'm just it's crazy. It is crazy how much when your
It,
whole family support it, the amount of like passion is just
is-
ridiculous. I don't even know it sometimes.
it is crazy, and it is crazy the amount of penalties that they get against us. And it's
Always.
only Harry Kane who takes the penalties, and he always bloody scores. It's so annoying,
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah.
in recent times, that game you were talking about, the 4-2 game, I absolutely loved it. One, because the way that Torreira celebrated that goal.
Shirt off.
Yeah,
Slided. Loved it.
yeah. And then Guendouzi, like the way he was carrying on. And then the scrap that went on in the corner
Yeah.
with the Arsenal and Spurs fans. And well, I mean, I'm not advocating violence at all, but it showed a lot of spirit. And it was something that we'd been lacking up until that point. And I still think to a certain extent we still are.
Yeah.
But that particular game, they weren't going to have it. And I was really pleased with them for doing it, and so that game definitely stands out, and then beating them on their own turf is special as well, Gracie. Have you ever been
Yeah. Very.
to away game to watch Spurs?
No, because the problem is it gets very heated, and obviously because I'm
Mm.
quite young now, I'm of the age where I could probably go to one like quite happily. But being young, it's very difficult to be at a derby, especially away. Away's bad. Even at home's bad, but any North London derby's bad. It just gets a bit too much when you're younger, and because the passion between the fans, it's dangerous.
It is dangerous, and for example, I would not allow my daughter to go to a North London derby.
No.
I mean, she's only 13, right? And I just wouldn't. I would not be happy about it at all. And I'd even be quite concerned. I know you're you're an adult now and stuff, but I would be concerned about you going to a North London derby, especially at their place.
I'd never go to their place. I'd get too angry going to their place. I'd be fuming. I wouldn't be able to look. I would literally feel sick. It's like sitting in a toilet bowl. Like, it's horrible. I don't want to go there ever. Never.
So how do you feel like the day of a North London derby? How does it affect you?
Ridiculously nervous for no reason. Like, ridiculous. Like, I'm like going on about it. I'm like on my phone, like checking what's going on, who's out, like this and that. Every little moment's like, oh, nerves. And then you kick off, and it's literally like it's the slowest match of your life every single time, unless you're like playing really well. So slow. Like, oh, when's the whistle gonna blow? Like, it's very nerve-wracking, and everyone always feels it as well. And I always, before a game, usually I always put my Arsenal shirt on an hour before the game kicks off. But North London derbies, it's like as soon as you wake up, you're putting it on because you need all the luck you can get, and so it will put it on like straight away. So it kind of breaks the normal traditions. It's like a separate little thing. Yeah, incredibly nervous till the game kicks off, and I hate it when it's a late kickoff as well because I can't cope sitting around for the whole day like doing that.
It's horrible, and I went through a spell where I couldn't even watch the games. I just couldn't because I got too nervous, and I hate playing them. I do. I can't, Gracie. I can't stand it. I can't.
Me neither. I get too angry. I literally get so angry. I will scream at the TV. I'll scream if we're winning, but then you'll know if I'm annoyed because every single touch I'll be fuming. Like every touch they make, especially when that guy comes on the camera. Like, I just can't deal with it. I can't even say his name. Like, just no. I really don't like him.
Mr. H, I think we'll call him.
Mr. H, yeah. Yeah, he's he's a new level of anger with him.
Yeah. Oh dear. Okay, so let's stop talking about them and move on.
Yeah, quick. I'll get too angry over him. Okay, it's starting to go red.
So have you been to a lot of away games, Gracie?
I've never actually been to an away game, because obviously I'm still young. And it's not very. They're not very accessible to get to as well. Sort of traveling where I am, it's quite difficult to locate. But I'm actually hoping to try and get to one away game this season. But we're running out of games, so maybe next season that'll be the one to go to.
I mean, it'd be all right if they were gonna be playing against Gillingham or someone. Wouldn't it?
I mean, when
not likely to happen anytime soon.
No, exactly. When I'm in university next year, that's when I'll go to more, because hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be in London, so I'll be close to the stadium. So
I'm sure you will.
Be able to get some more games in. So,
but from watching the games on TV, right, what would you say is your favourite away ground?
Favourite away ground is probably, I mean, the Etihad's pretty cool. Like, it's very modern, it's very nice. But I like the ones with the atmosphere. Is for me. Even when I'm just sitting here, I mean, I have surround sound, so I'm always watching it, and I like to feel like I'm there. So games like Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park, that's lovely. And you've got Newcastle's ground as well. So probably out of them two is the games I enjoy when it's away. It's the stadiums and the atmosphere that I like.
Cool. And when you've been at the Emirates, right, to watch Arsenal, what's the best atmosphere that you've experienced when you've been inside the Emirates, do you think?
Oh, it was probably the game I was a VIP. It was against Bate, and just it was the Europa League game. You know, we needed to win it, sort of thing. And the amount of goals, it was just incredible. Like I've never seen. That was like the first time I saw like the light show and everything, and literally everyone's shouting like chants at the top of their lungs, and then it's like when you're walking out of the stadium as well, you've got everyone chanting. So it's really like from the moment you get into the stadium to the moment you get back in your car, the atmosphere is just incredible. It's so loud, and it's the chants, like you know every chant when you get there automatically. It's just this like thing. And yeah, for me that was definitely the game for me. Europa League games are nice. And then I went to the Southampton game at the start of the season this season, and the atmosphere was great. Premier League games are really good atmosphere.
Yeah, excellent. So, Gracie, thinking about the managers that we've had at this club, which one would you say is the greatest ever manager? And why would you pick that one, do you think?
It's difficult for me to say it because I've literally grown up in the Arsene Wenger era and the tail end of the Arsene Wenger era. So it's not been a great time since I've been born, really. Nothing really special has happened. It is hard. It's very hard. I mean, George Graham's something else. But then I would say the first half of Arsene Wenger's career when he first came, that's probably it for me. If you got that era of Arsene Wenger, he was incredible. Like, and it made it all better when you have competition like Ferguson, and that for me, watching that back, is the early parts of his career at Arsenal. You know, you do the double, and there was just trophy after trophy after trophy, and you know that was a good time to be an Arsenal fan and for talking that for me.
Definitely. It was superb, Gracie. I've never experienced anything like that. I really haven't. I mean, except I really liked George. I really did. I just thought he was superb. I think he was tactically superior to Arsene Wenger, but the football that Arsene Wenger played, certainly in the first part of his reign, was superior. It was just on another level. It was just incredible, the football that he got this club playing. But then it all started going wrong in the second 10 years. And to be honest, I was having really serious doubts with him about when we got to the Champions League final.
That painful.
That sounds crazy, but
Yeah.
I was really starting to doubt whether going forward that he was going to be the right man to lead the club. And I was talking to people about wanting him to move upstairs and things like that and get a fresh face in. But yeah,
I think if we're talking all time, you're going to say Herbert Chapman, really, aren't
yeah.
we? You know, he is the one. Like that's why he has a whole thing in Highbury. Like he is, that is Mr. Arsenal. So, like that is it, Chapman.
So you mentioned earlier that you don't really like international football. Is that the case?
Yes, I don't. I'm not a fan of it. I will watch it with my family, and I slowly get into it. But like, if it's the World Cup, I'm really up for it because it's a good thing with like all my family, like come together, neighbours, like everyone. No matter what team you support, you like all support England, so it's a good mutual thing. But I don't like go out of my way to watch it. If we're in like a semi-final, final, whatever, yeah, then I'll watch it. You know, but I don't go crazy over it.
Which is, you know, in some respect, I do understand that because I don't think, from a personal point of view, I mean, I grew up, I was born in 1967. So my first World Cup I remember was Argentina 1978. And like moving forward to like 1990, there were some great World Cups. There really were. And I just don't think it's the same quality anymore. The games, they're not as, I don't think the players are as good. You know, you had Maradona at his peak. I don't know if you've ever seen Maradona, like clips of him and whatnot.
Yeah, of course.
It was unbelievable. He could beat a team on his own. So yeah, I do feel sorry for people, younger people like yourself, because it's not. It was really, really exciting seeing these games, but it's just the excitement. It just seems so dead and boring and stayed now. It's not.
No, I can't bring myself to cheering on other players like Harry Kane that I would hate on a regular basis. You know, I can't do that. I can't just drop the Arsenal fan, which is like 99% of me. You know, I don't know what the 1% is, but you know, it's definitely like the 1% is maybe England. Like that is it. It's Arsenal and the 1% of England that I actually like watching. It's very rare.
I mean, the thing is, even that I get that, but I'm talking about even watching games like, well, international games where there's no Arsenal players involved, like say for example, France against Brazil, like in
Oh no.
'86, which was an absolutely incredible game, and the technical level of it was just on a different level. Or like I mentioned earlier, the great Diego Maradona and stuff like
It's
that.
with it now, it's like you look at the teams and you know who's going to win
Yeah.
because of the players they have.
Mm. I
So
mean, like now, like France at their pomp taking on a team like Croatia when they had all their great players. You
yeah,
know, that happens so infrequently. You know, or when they do play, it's such a tactical bore because they're too scared to lose. There's too much at stake. It just gets, yeah, I don't know. I just think it's not the same anymore, and I do understand why you're not interested in it. I
yeah,
do.
it's boring.
Right. Um. So, of watching other teams play against Arsenal or different things that you've seen on the TV, who do you think's the greatest player that you've ever seen who's not an Arsenal player?
That's not an Arsenal player. Um, I've ever seen. There's very few. I think players that like really stand out is see it's difficult because there was like Aguero, fantastic player. Like non-Arsenal wise, um, I mean Ronaldo, obviously. Ronaldo's just a beast. He's insane. Like his body's incredible. He's he's getting older now, and he's still going. It may not be good at the moment, but he's still definitely one of the best players in the world. But yeah, players like Aguero, and I've definitely even young talent now like Phil Foden, like incredibly like gifted player. I'm like, wow, every time I watch him. So probably it's between them really, non-Arsenal player wise, or that have never been to Arsenal. But then again, I don't really pay much attention
Right.
to the other teams. Like I know like a bit about each, so I can talk about it when we play them. But I'm not really. Not really, but then you have like Wayne Rooney, etc. So there's plenty of like amazing players. There's not really one for me that stands out, goes straight to the top. They're all just like on the same sort of wavelength.
Not like Lionel Messi or someone like that, for example.
No, I think Messi is definitely the best player in the world. You can't argue with it, in my opinion. Like Messi and Ronaldo, two of the best, and then like Maradona obviously probably takes over them. But if we're talking in modern times, it's them two. So yeah, those that's really it for me.
Because I remember that European Cup final when he just basically destroyed United on his own. It was just insane.
Yeah.
It really was. But yeah. So let's move on. So, like, obviously, from what you mentioned earlier about your family and the situation and whatnot. Have you ever been to watch games overseas?
No, actually, I would love to. Haven't really. Obviously, travel, go on holiday in different countries, everywhere, etc. But I haven't actually watched football overseas. I'm sure that's definitely something I'll be doing in the future. But no, I'm only 16 now, so there's plenty of time to go travel and watch games. When you're younger, it's very difficult. You think I've lived 2.5 years in a pandemic, so before then,
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't, I was quite young, so I haven't really got to do much yet.
No, I mean, because the thing is, I mean, yeah, you're right. You would have been about 14, and it just wouldn't happen. I mean, I didn't start going to football on my own until I was about 18, 19, something like that.
Yeah, so around next year, like I'll be in university, etc. So I'm going to be close in London to games, so hopefully I'll be able to go.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we talked about the Emirates, and you've been there a few times. Is there any other grounds that you've enjoyed going to in this country?
I haven't really been to many grounds apart from the Emirates. Like when I say Arsenal is literally everything that I've ever really experienced in football and I've lived, that is it. Like I haven't really. I've been outside of the other stadiums, but there's none that I've really been to. I haven't been inside because I just can't. I don't get excited for it otherwise. I don't. If I went to another ground, I'd be just looking around and like, oh yeah, this is all right, isn't it? But if it's Arsenal, etc., and I'm looking around, I'm like, I'm into it. I want to know more, and like it's just that love that you have. It's like having a partner, and then you don't go somewhere else. That is it. That like it's like having a partner. Arsenal's my partner. I'm not going to go cheat on them with going to another ground.
No, well, no,
So
I understand that.
I'm just not interested in going to other ones really.
No, because I was just wondering if, like, when you've been, for example, overseas or whatever, and because a lot of these clubs now they have like stadium tours and whatnot.
Yeah. No, I haven't managed to go again. I'm young, so I mean, I've been to Portugal, and I'm sure like Porto and Lisbon, and they're amazing teams. Their stadiums are incredible. I think I've walked past it once, but I don't remember because it's a very long time ago now.
Okay, so like we're almost finished. I've got one more question I want to ask you, Gracie.
Yeah.
Right, and that is, I want you to look forward, right, and I want you to tell me if there was one change that you could make with this club, and I think I know what the answer is going to be, but I might be wrong. If there was one change that you could make moving forward from today onwards, what would it be?
I'll take her out. That's it. That's all I see. That is all I see, because this manager is not the one that's going to do anything special, and people need to realise it pretty quickly. And I've been saying it since the start of the season, and saying it when he got here, and it's just been downhill. Really, we won the FA Cup on a whim, and now look where we are now, losing to Southampton, Brighton, Crystal Palace. And he's still here. Arteta out, Kroenke out, management system out, pretty much that. Do what you like with the players, but first you need to strip the whole system. Edu, Vinay, all of them. Thank God, they're all the problem.
Yeah, exactly. And I completely agree with you. And I think it's the only way this club's going to move forward. So I'm just going to quickly go through the remainder of these chats because I've just been sort of putting them up as we've been going along. And Jez reckons Herbert Chapman. I can't say I disagree with him, to be honest. The Aussie Gooner. It's a good lad. Anyone who hasn't subscribed to the Aussie Gooner, make sure you go and check him out. Have you seen his channel, Gracie?
I have. I think I've spoken to him, actually. I was on Northside's channel with him. Yeah, right, good guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He said Arsenal should thank George Graham for the back line and goalkeeper and Ian Wright. Yeah, definitely, 100%, mate. that back line and goalkeeper was like the sort of foundation of Arsene Wenger's first 10 years at the club, 100%. Del Boy Gunners, remember you're cheering the Canada in the next World Cup. Craig Malloy says Maradona won the World Cup in '86 by himself. Unbelievable footballer. And I've got a story about it too. Quick stories, right? He nearly signed for Arsenal, and it's a fact. I've got newspaper cuttings, right, where he was going to come to Arsenal and the FA blocked it because they didn't want people from outside the European Union coming to play in England. And then the next season, Ardiles and Villa turned up and played for Tottenham. So I had this long-standing for a long time, had this thing about the FA being against Arsenal, and that was the reason why they blocked Arsenal signing him, right? And the next story I had, when he signed for Napoli, right, he found out about this charity game that was going on for this kid who was like sick, really sick in hospital, and it was really touch and go whether the kid was going to survive or not. And he wanted to go and play, and he spoke to the Napoli team about going to play, and they said, well, no, you can't. And said, well, I really want to. And they, no. He said, well, I'm going to do it. I don't care whether you like it or not. And he went and played. And, so big up to him. What else? I think it was against England where he scored that mad goal, 1-on-5, wasn't it? Yes, McChronicle, it was. He picked up the ball sort of just outside the centre circle in the England Argentina half, and he waltzed around about 5 or 6 of the England defence and then just slotted it home. It was incredible. Absolutely incredible. He ran sort of like 3/4 of the length of the pitch. Del Boy Gunner says Liam Brady up there with one of the best players ever at Arsenal. My son's team that I manage, Liam Brady played for, and he's still involved with the club. Juan, what do you think about Chippy? Mate, I loved him. He was one of my favourite players of all time who played for Arsenal. I absolutely loved him. I used to when I was playing football, I used to think I was a mix between Liam Brady and Brian Talbot. So there you go. So Gracie, thank you so much for coming on today and chatting to me about your experiences of being an Arsenal fan. Do you want to tell everyone about how they can get in contact with you, anything that you've got planned that's coming, and anything else you want to tell them all?
Yeah, thank you for having me on as well. It's been great. I've enjoyed it. You can find me at Gracie-Mae on YouTube, and the same on Twitter as well. That's probably the best place to contact me if you have any questions, etc. My channel's all about Arsenal, and it's down to one person. It's my granddad. That's why I do it. It's what it's for a legacy that keeps continuing. So just keep growing together, and enjoy Arsenal as much as we can.
Thank you, Gracie. Right, so with that, I've got nothing else to say. I hope you've really all enjoyed it. Don't forget to go and check out Gracie's channel and subscribe to her and put a like on her videos and share her videos around. Please do the same for this one and subscribe to my channel as well. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. We really do appreciate it. And have a great rest of your day. Remember, as I always say, keep talking and share some love and kindness around the world. And we'll see you all really soon. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye for now.